right. Okay. Today we are back with our final Death Note reaction video. Jordan, what a pleasure it has been to watch this series along with you, brother.
The pleasure's mine, man. R.I.P. to Light Yagami.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to L.
Yes.
R.I.P. to Soichiro Yagami.
Yes.
R.I.P. to Misa.
Oh. Yeah, we have a comment that, and we didn't even catch that, right?
I think I questioned it if that was the case. But, I mean, they didn't make it explicit.
Yeah.
They just showed us her up on that ledge, the building.
Yeah, so it's inferred that she jumped.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
A lot of death.
Yeah.
But we knew that's what we were getting into when the title is Death Note.
Yeah. So, obviously, people, today's reaction / video will be a lot different than our previous reactions because we have no episode to react to.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do today is read through many of your brilliant comments that you left underneath our reactions to episode 36 and 37. We have some questions.
Great questions.
That will spark some conversation between us. And then we have some incredible links that we'll be checking out.
Yeah, there's a lot of ancillary content for us to watch.
Yeah.
A lot of different scenes from different places that should be interesting.
All right, so maybe we can start. If you have any final thoughts, it can be really short or whatever. You have any final thoughts on Death Note as a whole?
I mean, just a fantastic series.
Yeah.
Really. A really well-written series. Really well animated for its time.
Yeah.
And I believe we also have a question at some point asking us what we think the series would be like if it were written in today's time.
Yes.
So we'll touch more on that. But, I mean, just masterfully written. The suspense, the plot line, the twists. I loved it.
Yeah.
So I'm appreciative that this was the first official anime that we jumped into and finished. It was great.
Yeah, I think this is the perfect first anime for people who are new to anime.
Yeah.
Right? If they're into the psychological crime genre.
Yeah.
It's short, right? It packs a lot into each episode. It shows you the power of anime.
Yeah.
Right? It's not just cartoons. It's real.
Absolutely not just cartoons.
You know, it shows you that anime allows you to reflect on your own life, reflect around the world around you. Yeah, this was a beautiful first anime for us.
Yeah, man.
So I know we both went back and rewatched the past 2 episodes. So I wrote down some notes. Maybe I should wait and just see if they come up, but I think I'll just read a few right now.
Go ahead, brother.
It was really interesting, the music and the background sound effects in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It was interesting because there was a lot of silence that we hadn't really gotten previously. So you were able to focus in on the sounds you were hearing, and even the voice actors stepped their game up humongously in the final 2 episodes. Light's laughter. Oh my gosh. Right? The laughter that was broiling up from his freaking diaphragm. That was nuclear.
Yeah.
He was ready to let that thing blow.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he said multiple times, it's so hard not to laugh. He was thinking it's just so hard not to laugh.
He was so convinced that he had outsmarted Nier.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Light Jarn saying, well, Nier, it looks like I win.
At the 39-second mark.
There you go. When Mikami was counting to 40 and was on 39.
Yeah.
That right there is like a football player dropping the football on the 1-yard line right before they think they scored a touchdown.
That's a good analogy right there.
Celebrating too early.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's a good analogy.
And then just some quick notes from episode 37. Light calling Matsuda an idiot for shooting him was such an intriguing moment. Obviously, it was a callback to all the earlier moments in the series where Matsuda is called an idiot, but it also illustrates what Light thinks about Matsuda. You know, right? Matsuda just shot you. You know, Light has this God complex where he believes that he is more powerful and capable than any other human being. You know, and superior. Matsuda, you idiot! Why'd you shoot God?
Shoot them. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Shoot them.
Exactly.
Make me write all of their names in the book.
Yeah.
Make me Misa.
Yeah.
Takada.
Oh, that's my next point, Jordan. Light calling out for Misa and Takada while he was bleeding out made me sick.
I found it quite funny.
It's obviously a little bit funny, but it's a lesson for all of us, right? In this life, you have to treat people how you want to be treated. Yeah. Pure and simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's the janitor, right, who is just passing by, the person who's serving lunch in a cafeteria.
Yeah.
Treat every single person on this earth how you want to be treated. And if you want to be treated badly, go ahead. That's you got to deal with that on your own.
If you want to be treated badly, then hire a dom.
Oh gosh. All right.
It's the truth. Get it out there. Don't be mean to me.
Yeah. And then just a final quick note: Ryuk killing Light at the end was so fitting. Yeah. I wrote down this may be a hot take. You tell me. Mm-hmm. Tell me if you agree. But Ryuk's character throughout the entire series oftentimes appears aloof and adds a whole bunch of humor, right? He's very comical, whereas Light's is just deathly serious and not really funny or humorous at all.
Yeah.
However, I feel like Ryuk respected the power of the Death Note and the power to kill people much more than Light did. And that Light abused that power to kill people much more than Ryuk, right? So you have these contrasting personalities where you would think that Ryuk would be the one to just abuse this power, but it was actually the focused, calculated individual, in my opinion, who abused that power. Would you agree?
That's an interesting point. Is that your hot take?
Yeah.
I've never thought about that up to this point. How many people did Ryuk kill using the Death Note? Was Light the only one that we saw?
Exactly. I have no idea. I know, like, it was his job in the Shinigami world,
right,
to kill people, but it seemed like he respected that power.
No, I completely agree with that. That's an interesting take. Yeah, I feel like Light got to the point where the power overtook him. He was no longer in control. And we saw that clearly when he shifted between normal Light Yagami and Kira.
Yep.
You could clearly see that. And I think that's where my heart was just twisted and pulled and shattered, because you want to care and be empathetic for Light the kid. But at the same time, he's this completely different person when he is Kira.
Yep.
And I loved how the show wiped away the memories when you, what's it called? You give up the Death Note.
Yeah.
Give up possession of the Death Note. Forfeit it, yeah. Because it draws that picture very clearly for the audience. These are normal people who are corrupted by power. And that's what we saw with Light.
Right.
So all that to say, I don't think that's a hot take.
Okay.
I think that's an interesting take, because Ryuk truly did seem like he was just having a good time. It was so fitting, the last thing he said to Light. Something about, it's been interesting.
Yeah.
Because he always found things so interesting.
Yeah.
And Light, on the other hand, took everything so seriously.
Yeah.
Especially when he was Kira. Even when he wasn't, he was a very serious, wanted to be a police officer. Boom, boom, boom. But that's the nature of society in Japan, from what we're told a lot too.
Yep.
Where there's a lot of pressure, especially on kids. So I don't think that's a hot take. That's interesting, brother.
Yeah, Ryuk found joy in messing with human beings, right? Playing small jokes on them.
Yeah.
Light found joy in eliminating human beings.
Kira.
All right. They're both one and the same for me. I know you may still have some some empathy in your heart for Light?
Surprisingly, I do.
Yeah.
I do, because he's still a human being. It's like watching someone on death row in prison, and they're like, they have a bunch of documentaries out there, some are on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's like watching them just talk. That's a normal person.
They often repent, right?
Oh, okay.
On death row, Light until the very end. Obviously, he was possessed by the power of Kira.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like he until the very end, he said, "This is some joke, right? It's them. They're playing some sick, twisted trick on me.
Yeah.
It's not me."
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think last thing I'll say, and then we can move on. We're here at the end.
Yeah.
Right? We saw what Light was like when he wasn't Kira.
Yeah.
He truly did want to help and take down Kira, even though he may have agreed, similar to Matsuda,
Yeah.
with a lot of the ideologies and philosophies that Kira held. But Light, the young man, I don't find that kid to be a bad dude.
Oh.
Kira was a killer.
Yeah.
He was a mass murderer, like Nier said. And he was the one who needed to be eliminated from this earth. Because that's not how you deal with people. Even if he may have made the world a bit better. Yeah. That's not how you deal with people.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man.
All right.
Sorry to go on that little spiel, but...
No, I'm sorry to go on my little spiel.
Nah, man. Great points.
All right. Let's get into these people's comments.
Oh, let's do it, man. These are the last set of comments that we have for Death Note. So let's jump in.
All right. So the first comment comes to us from JP Sismar, and JP writes, "What a journey it has been. You boys finally made it. Hope you enjoyed one of your first animes ever." JP, thank you so much. As we mentioned, I really feel like this was the perfect first anime for us.
Yeah.
Enjoyed every minute.
We never would have made it without you, JP.
Never would have made it.
We may have lost our minds.
Never would have made it.
We may have seen a lot of death
without you.
Really, though, we appreciate each and every one of you. JP, you included. Yes. Thank you so much. All right, Sia K has the next comment. And Sia K writes, all right, so those were our questions, brother man. Now, last but not least, we have a whole bunch of links that our patrons provided us. And these links range from manga explanations to different speeches to soundtracks. Got a whole bunch of interesting stuff. Voice actor clips.
Yeah.
So let's try to get through all of it.
Let's get it.
Up first, we have a comment from Kevin once again. And Kevin says, "Here's a scene from Death Note Relight 2, which is a director's cut of the anime that includes some deleted scenes. I actually searched for and found this clip a while ago, but I listened to a lot of anime hardstyle music, and several songs would include a speech by L that I knew I hadn't heard before in the series. I was so happy when I found where it came from. Enjoyed the scene." Okay, so we have an L speech that Kevin provided us.
Let's check it out.
Here we go.
Why was L defeated?
That's wrong. I'm next. No, I'm next.
I try to envision the events that take place as individual elements. I can then make a note of each one, but I gain a better understanding when I combine all of these again as a whole, which is why I have very bad handwriting. Any other questions?
Oh, can you tell me if there's something that you're not good at, or maybe something that you're scared of?
Something I'm scared of?
What? Yeah, right. El's not scared of anything.
Well, I suppose monsters.
Me too. I am too.
Dummy, El's not the same as you.
There are many types of monsters in this world. Monsters who will not show themselves and who cause trouble. Monsters who abduct children. Monsters who devour dreams. Monsters who suck blood. And Monsters who always tell lies.
Hmm.
Lying monsters are a real nuisance. They are much more cunning than other monsters. They pose as humans, even though they have no understanding of the human heart. They eat, even though they've never experienced hunger. They study, even though they have no interest in academics. They seek friendship, even though they do not know how to love. If I were to encounter such a monster, I would likely be eaten by it. Because in truth, I am that monster.
Damn.
I monsters.
I mean, we know Shinigami's he's
Wow.
scared of,
But like monsters who are humans.
yeah.
Lying monsters.
But he said, "I am that monster."
Yeah.
At the end.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
Yeah, and interesting here how Near and Mello were in the back doing what they do,
Yeah.
eating chocolate and playing with Rubik's Cubes. Meanwhile, all these kids, are just, it's like mob or group think versus the two who stand out.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
All right, that was interesting.
Damn. Yeah, that was a hard speech. Right there. Thank you, Kevin, for sharing that. We were also provided with a playlist, Jared,
Yep.
from the first Death Note Relight movie.
Yeah.
And we're told that this playlist contains every new additional scene that wasn't in the original anime.
Wow.
And provides more context. So maybe we can jump around this playlist because the videos are relatively short.
Yeah.
But it looks like we have, the first one says a Shinigami is looking for Ryuk. Ryuk tells the Shinigami a story. Which one should we watch? Light meets L.
Let's do Ryuk tells a Shinigami a story.
All right.
Who are you? I've been looking for you. I want to hear your story. Story? I'll make it worth your while. Yeah.
Is that an apple?
Oh well, I would have liked one that's a little more juicy. I want to go down to the human world. I'm sick of this place, it's so boring. I've heard that the human world is a lot more interesting. Well, it's no use complaining about how boring it is here. Now, if you were thinking of doing something stupid, like changing the human world, that would be interesting. I was getting bored anyway. I'll humor you. Take it as my appreciation for that lousy apple. I'll tell you the story of a human I once knew. One who tried to change the world and become God.
Oh! So this is post the whole light dying. Oh, wow.
Okay. I wish we got to hear what he had to say. But
Yeah.
all right. Any other ones you want to check out, brother?
How about Light Yagami's introduction?
Okay.
Yes, someone has to do it. Because the world, it can't go on like this. Day in and day out, the same news on permanent repeat. There are worthless people all around us. The world would be better off if they were dead. That's right. The world is rotting. And those who are making it rot deserve to die. I'll do it. Using the Death Note, I'll change the world. I'll eliminate all evildoers who deserve punishment. I'm going to clean up the world one name at a time. People who have committed serious crimes will die of heart attacks. Soon, even an idiot will notice that someone's killing criminals. I want the world to know of my existence. That my power is erasing evil. That I'm the one doling out justice.
Oh.
I'll eat a chip. Yeah.
Okay.
I felt like I was falling there for a minute.
Yeah, that was some good animation right there.
All right, so I picked two. Now you want to pick two?
All right. Man. Light. Elle's funeral. I feel like that'd be a good one.
Did we watch that
I think
one?
we did see that.
We saw that. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I guess Light killing people, going off of what we just watched.
All right.
Ah, those red eyes.
Yeah.
Did you say you no longer have anything interesting to look forward to, Ryuk? Well, I promise that won't be the case. From now on, I'm going to show you the creation of a new world.
Did we see this scene as well? Or
We
no?
may have.
Damn. Okay, this is a lot more brutal, huh?
Yeah.
Vivid.
Is that,
Mikami.
or was that Higuchi?
Oh.
Oh, that's interesting.
The classic sound. Classic.
I'm the god.
Of the new world. Oh, look at that. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm losing more and more of my final strands of sympathy for Light
Yeah.
post his death.
Yeah, me too, brother. I mean, it makes me think about the environments people grow up in.
Yeah.
And the opportunities that they're given and how much of an impact it has on their life. We could say it over and over, ad nauseum. If Light never encountered the Death Note, who would he be? I mean, is it a safe bet to say he would not be a mass murderer? Probably. Because he wouldn't have had the
Yeah.
ability.
I have a very interesting thought that just came to my mind.
Please.
Because you mentioned how Light could have been president.
Yeah.
And I think about the power that presidents have. Very similar to the Death Note.
Nuclear.
All you got to do is press a button. Right? I'm not even talking about the nuclear capability, but the power of drone strikes. Right? The power to kill indiscriminately.
Yeah.
Jordan. You know?
Yeah.
Like, and eliminate evil.
That's a good point.
And like, if Light had made it to president without ever knowing about the Death Note, without ever becoming Kira,
Yeah.
right, would his personality have sort of brought him to a similar place of eliminating evil? He has this power. He can eliminate evil.
Yeah.
What is he going to do with it?
Oh, that's a fascinating thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as a president, you have a lot of discretion.
Yeah.
Right? People say the same thing about Obama or any president, really. Even if you like them, they did fly a lot of drones into innocent
Yeah.
civilians, killing them, and don't have much repercussion for their actions.
Right.
I do feel like Light as president, though, would be building rapport with people, with nations. I do, and I feel like that would have an impact on him. He'd be able to see the good sides of humanity, too.
Okay.
But
Maybe.
anyway, I don't know. All right, one more final one. Which one should we choose? Report on Misa, 23 seconds?
Let's do it.
Let's click it.
Misa Amane. The second Kira who possesses the Shinigami eyes. She cooperates with Light Yagami under the guise of her acting and modeling work. Although she claims she'd do anything for him, she too has a dark side.
And if it came down to it, I'm still stronger than he is because I have the eyes.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow. So that was L's report.
Ah,
Seemed. Yeah.
interesting. And then it looks like Aizawa is up next. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you, Kevin, and thank you to a bunch of our patrons for sending us this playlist. That was interesting.
Yes.
I have to go back and rewatch all of them.
All right. Our next comment comes from Sarah. And Sarah writes, "Oh my God. The ending. You made it. Great reactions, truly. I absolutely love the analysis Jordan provided regarding Matsuda, mad spot on, as well as Jared's appreciation for the animation and the resemblance of L's death episode. Amazing catch. Since you asked, I've gone ahead and found some clips. The manga provides a similar but different experience of the ending. The explanation starts at the 204 mark. You want to watch that one first?
Okay.
Let's do it.
One thing people who only read the manga or only watch the anime might not know, however, and that's that each version of the series has a similar but also completely different ending. You probably already know that if you read the title before clicking, but shut up. Seriously though, what I find the most interesting about these two endings is that they're both great in my opinion, but the messages and portrayals of characters they give couldn't be more different, basically giving a completely different mood as the series comes to an end. But for me to get into that, first I'll have to tell you about the original manga chapter where the story of Light Yagami came to an end. Giving some setup here, Light has been backed into a corner after inadvertently admitting to the police group he's been working with and Nier that he's Kira, only finding out afterwards that his plan has fallen through thanks to Nier's foresight about how Mikami, one of Kira's followers, would act, his own ego being Light's undoing. With nowhere left to go, Light confesses and gives a speech about his grand plan, trying to kill Nier with the last piece of notebook he has before being shot by Matsuda, one of the police members he worked with. This is where the big defining moment comes in. Having nowhere left to run, every plan failed, every other follower gone or dead, his only current one present renouncing Light after seeing him in such a vulnerable state, the only option he has left is to beg. Specifically, begging to Ryuk, asking him to kill everyone against him using his own Death Note. But Ryuk knows Light's rope has come to an end, so he decides to fulfill the promise he made at the start of their journey together, and instead writes Light's name in the Death Note, killing him of a heart attack 40 seconds later after much more groveling and pleading. What makes this entire ending so impactful is what it says about Light as a character in this instance. Throughout the entirety of the series, Light has been a cool-headed planner with every precaution taken to not be found, carefully setting up every domino to fall exactly how he wants, never removing his poker face. But in this instance, that state of calmness is nothing more than a bluff, so he doesn't even try to continue with it. Every shred of confidence Light had has been taken, so he sees no need to fake his persona any longer, showing the depths of how far he's fallen from his more innocent, almost normal self by now grasping at futile straws, asking those that don't care about human affairs to do his dirty work. Similarly speaking, the fact that he's begging so desperately for it with no shame shows that any dignity he may have had before is gone. He's scared now. Whereas in the beginning, Light didn't fear death and understood there would be no heaven or hell after he died, but a single place everyone went to, now, knowing that death is not, there's no way for him to stop it, having not fulfilled his goals from almost being a bit complacent after the death of L, Light is left fearing the thought of dying as it comes for him. The old Light may have been able to accept it if he had lost, but this Light has given up too much and come too far for him to lose, so when he does, it's almost like he can't accept it and would rather go into denial. This ending for Death Note is very much a bittersweet type of ending for the series. The sight of both L and Nier has been able to come out on top, but Light has died after becoming nothing more than a shell of his former self, clinging to non-existent threads after his fortress comes tumbling down and his previous morals or ideals no longer mean anything to him. It shows us the darker side of what Light has become thanks to having the Death Note, a form we've seen him take shape of as the chapters have gone on, and in the end, it leaves us with a sense of longing, wondering if there could have been a better outcome. The anime adaptation of this same ending equally holds weight in what it's portraying, but it also does things a little bit differently. As far as the events of the last episode go, most of what happened in my last description occurs here, but instead of Light's follower Mikami renouncing him after seeing the god Kira in such a wretched state, he kills himself in front of everyone, giving Light the smallest opportunity to try escaping. Running away with nowhere left to go, Light can do nothing but remember his past self as he runs, eventually resting on a staircase knowing Ryuk is going to write his name, dying there with no resistance as the episode comes to an end. What obviously makes this ending so much different from the mangas is the lack of attempted bargaining Light tries to pull with Ryuk before dying. Instead, though Light still begs and pleads while on the ground for Mikami and Misa, he's able to make it out and run away, knowing he's going to die. The fact he's choosing to run despite it all shows he's somehow trying to run away from the problems that have grown too big for him to confront, knowing if he turns back for even a second, they'll catch back up with him. He's making a futile attempt to get away, and all he can think about as he does this is what he started out as.
Yeah.
Knowing his world is crumbling around him, Light can only imagine what life would have been like for him had he never found the notebook to begin with. And it makes him remorseful because he knows it could have been great. The notebook coming into his life took him from an aspiring high schooler with a penchant for crime solving to a washed up killer with no one by his side to help. With that in mind, he heads for a final resting place, seemingly allowing Ryuk to take his life knowing there's no way for him to get out of the situation. Instead of struggling and crying out for Ryuk to save him, this Light sticks to his calm-headedness, even if it's just a bluff, and lets his own life be taken to try staying true to at least some of the dignity he had in the start. As opposed to the manga ending, this series finale provides a much more somber and happy start.
I'd like to see this manga ending in anime, where he's begging for Ryuk, begging, and he dies in front of everybody.
Yep.
That would have been fascinating to see.
Yeah.
Because it was a bit somber and sweet, this last ending scene of the anime.
Yeah, and Mikami, I felt like we did sort of get like a renouncing by him, but I guess not.
What do you mean renouncing?
Like, I'm not with you, Light, or God anymore.
When?
In the anime, but I don't think we did. They're saying that happened in the manga.
Oh, okay, I see.
But in the anime, Mikami took his own life in that moment.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is fascinating stuff. You want to finish it out, or?
Sure.
All right, let's finish it out.
This series finale provides a much more somber, gentle end for Light after being defeated.
Yeah.
He still gets caught, still has nowhere left to run, and still cries out for those that can't help him anymore, but he comes to understand at least partially just how much he's messed up since he got the note, and doesn't fight it when Ryuk comes to take back what he lent to Light in the first place, dying halfway up a set of stairs in a peaceful, yet also agonizing state, symbolizing how he didn't go to heaven or hell after dying. In the end, I think both endings are equally valid when talking about quote-unquote true endings for the series, but they're also very different conclusions. While both end with sorrow knowing what's become of the main character after all is said and done, one tries to almost uplift the audience with Light's passing, showing a more low-key, subtle ending of him being a sympathetic kid that got corrupted by something he didn't originally ask for, still holding on to a shred of his humanity in death while wallowing in the amounts of despair he caused. Whereas the other is more upfront about how gruesome it is and pays more attention to showing the fall of Light as he disregards everything hoping he can live. They give two completely different feelings and portrayals of the same character as he's entering his final moments, but neither loses the Death Note spirit or feels out of place. The two materials go for separate tones in the end, but they're both equally respectful in how they handle the character and how he's fallen so far from grace. Really, I'd say the most important factor here comes down to the consumer's interpretation of what fits the series' end better. I don't think you can really objectively say one is superior to the other since they both fit so well. Really, it could just have to do with how you, the viewer, feel about the series and what you want of its characters as it enters the final chapter. Do you want Light to have some form of minor regret in his heart while wallowing as he dies due to his own actions? Or is it better if there's no potential for sympathy as the shell of what Light used to be is taken down for good? Each has its merits and downsides depending on what your preference is, so I'm not going to say you should like one more or like another less. It's up to you whether you think one, both, or neither are really good when put in the context of being the show's end. All I want to do when talking about it is to show how drastically two pieces of media can differ in ending, forming unique identities for themselves while still keeping the core themes of their series intact and satisfying viewers to the best of their ability. Do you agree with what I said? Disagree? Let me know down in the comments, and hopefully I'll get to read it. Sorry if this video was shorter than others. I usually don't make many videos of such minimal length, but I'm gonna be at the beach by the time this video goes up, and I want to leave some content for you guys while I'm away. Hopefully you enjoyed it all the same as my other content, and I'll see you again in the next video. Hope you all have a good day.
I like this guy.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Just Stop YouTube.
Yeah.
On Patreon. Okay. Or Just Stop YT.
Very interesting. I'd have to agree that, and I know we haven't read the manga, but based on what we've heard of the manga ending and what we just heard here, the spirit of Death Note was not compromised.
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you feel similar in that you'd like to see an anime portrayal of that last scene, how the manga plays out?
Sure. I'm sure the voice actor would have had to have just done a crazy job, right? Begging on the ground.
Yeah, because he's right. I mean, the way the anime played out, it seemed to leave a lot of us with a bit more sympathy for Light's actions and his humanity.
Yep.
But if we were to see him pleading with Ryuk, just utter disregard for anything else other than his life, I think I would have been left with a feeling of, okay, I mean, he got what he deserved, and I don't feel bad for him at all.
Yeah.
But yeah,
do you think Ryuk let him off easy?
Oh,
by Ryuk writing his name down instead of letting him get shot a few more times? Right? What's a more painful way to go out? A heart attack is very painful, probably.
Yeah.
But
that's an interesting question. I don't know.
Yeah. It didn't seem like, you know, right at the split second when he was dying, like he was in pain. It seemed like he just went.
Right.
Yeah.
He had a heart attack, I assume, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what's worse, a heart attack or getting shot?
What do you think?
I think they might be equal. But getting shot, I associate with more pain.
What if Ryuk decided to do something interesting, and he made him? I mean, this is gruesome, but he made him jump off a building, like we think we saw Misa do, or he made him walk into oncoming traffic or something like that.
Yeah. Then I would look at Ryuk differently. Good thought experiment.
Yeah.
All right, Sarah has another video for us. Sarah writes, here's the voice actor who plays Light. It's a little eerie if you close your eyes and listen to him. He sounds like Light trying to act like a normal person. Haha.
Okay.
I don't really have any questions, so I'll end this comment by saying thanks for giving anime a chance.
Absolutely.
It's been a treat watching this series with you. Best of luck with the no plastic journey. I'm doing very well.
I'm not. We're working on it.
Don't beat yourself up too much if it doesn't stick right away. Change is very hard, but
yeah,
we're getting there.
That's a nice bottle you got right there, brother.
I bring this to the gym now. I've never been anybody who carries a bottle to the gym, but it's so convenient.
Yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
We're going to get you there, buddy.
I'm happy for you.
Jared and Jordan, catch you in the next anime. Thank you for existing. Yeah. Sarah, your words, thank you for existing, after each of your comments has really made us reflect on our own existence and how much we appreciate people like you. Thank you for existing.
Yeah, we've said it over and over again, but thank you for existing. That's a powerful 4 words right there.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to start saying that to my friends, my family, because it's different. It's different than just I love you or see you later.
Right.
Thank you for existing. Thank you. All right, so let's watch this voice actor clip that Sarah provides for us right here. Bittersweet.
Bittersweet. Yeah.
Follow the teachings of God and receive his blessings, and so it shall be, that the seas will again become bountiful.
That's great.
And the raging storms will subside.
That's great. That's so great.
It's not even close to the right place, is it?
Oh my goodness. Hey,
Jordan. Imagine meeting this guy in real life.
Imagine you bump into him on the street and he says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah. Are you okay?"
Yeah.
You're like, "Wait. No.
Hey,
please don't write my name."
He drops a notebook. He's like, "Hey, that's my notebook."
This guy. Oh my goodness.
Run.
Yo, I'm sorry. He should play the character in real life. Or I know they already made an adaptation to it, but they should make another one, according to what people tell us.
Please, is it?
I can't do this. This is too eerie.
Yes. Okay, take a break. We're on. Let's just call it. I think we've done a pretty good day.
It's day 1. Oh, we'll have to see. It's getting pretty exciting already.
A lot of the tough scenes, I think, are in these first few episodes, so I'm glad to see that they're working out really well. Or hitting the ground running. We're getting some really good stuff.
It's amazing how much stuff happened in this one episode. Particularly
it's crazy.
Character development on Light's part. I mean, he went through a lot.
He actually sounds like one of our old friends.
Who? Which one?
I'm not gonna say his name.
I know,
here.
I
I'll
know.
write it down.
But there were multiple named that. Yeah, which one? I said.
We have multiple friends named that.
Mm-hmm. I can think of two.
Who the other one?
Wait, all I'm asking is which one you
You know which one I'm talking about? Yeah, man, the first one.
Oh, okay.
What's that? Who's the second one? Is his name that?
Yeah, it's.
Oh, I I see.
I got you. You think he sounds
I
like
guess
him?
I didn't consider that one a friend.
Oh, well, that's bad on you.
No, I mean, we have different friends.
Jared, he was our friend in high school. We ate lunch with. Anyway, we won't go too far here.
Okay.
Maybe you didn't, and that's fine.
All right. Sorry. That's all right.
Any new series that you start, there's a bit of a feeling out process to kind of.
You think he sounds like him?
Through
Yeah, man.
what the character is going through, but I don't know. In this series, it seems to be happening pretty fast. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this all turns out with the rest of the cast and everything. That's one of the problems when you're one of the first guys in is you don't really get to hear the other North American voice actors anyway. So yeah, it's a bit of a surprise once you see the final product and see how everything.
They are zooming in on this man's face.
I know what's going on here.
Shinigami, the god of death, huh? Well, I'm not surprised. In fact, Ryuk, I've been waiting for you.
Oh.
When we did the audition,
Like he's got to put himself in that mind state.
Yeah.
You know, I've been waiting for you, Ryuk.
I pray we are going to see the final scenes.
Yeah.
I pray. Jared, we saw a few clips from AOT of the voice actors.
Yeah.
And every single time it never fails. It never fails. These guys are women. These individuals are talented beyond measure.
Yeah.
This is incredible.
Yeah, let's see if we can find the scenes where he's actually doing the voice acting.
Okay.
It's the best time ever.
Okay.
as a director, you have to.
It's good to hear he
every
hates him.
Actor is a different challenge. You know what you need to do to get a performance out of one person is different than what you do need to get the performance out of somebody else. So it's sort of finding out what that is.
Even within this, look at the technology.
Right.
You know? I mean, this is incredible.
How to make that happen.
Death Note? As in a notebook of death?
It's too good.
How to use it?
It's too good.
The human whose name is written in this notebook shall die.
Just a shade more surprise on the show.
Can I maybe get that
You can't get anything light.
Because it's gonna sound a little like
No, you can't get anything.
So he's done so much of it that the actual mechanics of ADR, you know, fitting the flaps, knowing how to adjust his read, it's second nature.
What's ADR?
I don't know.
So he's not really thinking about that. And I think that's really that's the secret to it, is getting beyond that part of it, that you're not struggling and you can concentrate on the artistic side of it.
The more experience you have working there, the more comfortable you're going to feel. And I like to think that shows in the performances. I mean, it's an amazing looking show. It's got a cool cast of characters, and it's a really interesting idea. And yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me that it's become popular.
It's complex, and not just complex, but the concepts are cleverly portrayed. I find
Right.
It's a really interesting show, and I think that's really what sets it apart.
Yeah.
It's a really, how would I put it? Just a interesting, complex show to watch. It draws you in. You know, you really you got to keep watching.
He doesn't really seem too fearful. All these crazy events are happening to him right from the get-go. And instead of him freaking out and panicking and doing all that kind of nonsense, he's more calculating in how he's going to take these events and kind of twist them in his favor. I mean, I think there's there's going to be an obvious struggle between his morality and his sense of right and wrong and what he figures he's accomplishing.
They just got to play the background music while he's speaking, right?
It could be tough down the road to kind of keep that in check. We don't want him to seem like a total monster, right? But
failed.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
That's where you
how
go.
It goes, and I guarantee it's going to happen to our friend Light here.
There you go.
I mean, it's something that I think most of us would, like to be able to do is create a better world. And the big problem there is, well, how do you go about doing it? And if it's all you making the decisions, who's to say that you're right and that you're making the right choices? Some characters in the past have had hints of that, but never this early on in a series either. I mean, it's episode 1, and he's already glimpses of what's to come. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Episode 1.
With all that power, it's going to kind of just start to distort your reality. I'm sure it's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily an ideal situation.
We'll just finish it out.
That person with all the power, especially very anonymous power too, right? I mean, you have politicians, high-ranking officials, whatever. They're in the spotlight, so they will have to answer to courses of action that they take. Whereas with Light, it seems right now he can kind of be behind the scenes doing all this type of stuff.
It's a darker show than a lot of other shows I've done, which isn't unique in itself, but I think it's unique in that there's not that simplification of good versus evil. Obviously, with Light, his intentions are good, but is he good? Is gray area. Who's the good, who's the bad guy?
Oh, it's early to say, but I got faith. I think he means well, right? But
he must know the entire story, though, right? At this point,
the power, and it's gonna change him a bit.
He sort of looks like Light too.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Wow. I think he also looked like one of the people who played Shaggy in Scooby-Doo.
In the real life version?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it's always great to see the voice actors.
Yeah, that was trippy.
Right? The meticulous work that they do is incredible.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Sarah, for your amazing videos.
Yeah, thanks so much, Sarah. Okay, brother man, we have one final link to check out.
All right.
And this comes from our guy, Jay. And Jay writes, I would highly request J&J and everyone else to watch this 10-minute video on their own time regarding the logic of the final episode of the show. I don't want to be that guy, and I thoroughly enjoyed Death Note overall, but this video completely changed my view on the logic of the show's ending.
Wow.
And I'm interested to see if it'll change anyone else's mind.
There you go.
Let's see if it's going to change our mind. This is fascinating. Here we go, everybody.
What's up, weebs and waifus? So, you think you know Death Note? It's kind of a complicated show with a lot of little details and interconnected plot threads, so you'd be forgiven for having missed a thing or two.
Try
What
us.
if I told you that everything you know about the entire ending of the show is wrong? Well, first you'd probably look at me like I'm crazy, but bear with me. To be clear, I'm not saying you made a mistake here. I'm saying Death Note did. Or rather, the author of Death Note, Sugumi Oba, did. Based on everything in the story up to that point, all the rules that were established, the plot line set in motion, the abilities, limitations, and personalities of all the characters, the ending couldn't have happened as depicted. The show itself shows us multiple examples of how that ending would be impossible. Let's make like a Shinigami and take a big chunk out of the end of this animated life.
Okay.
And in case your detective skills are a bit rusty, spoilers ahead for the plot and ending of Death Note.
No worries.
First, a quick refresher in case it's been a while since you've seen the show. Skip to this timestamp if you don't want to hear the recap. One day, a genius Japanese high school student named Light Yagami finds a supernatural notebook that can cause the death of anyone whose name is written in it. Light decides to use this power to make the world a better place by punishing criminals and those he deems evil. Soon, the public realizes that there must be some kind of serial killer behind all these deaths, and dub the mysterious murderer Kira. The case then catches the attention of the world's greatest detective, a reclusive genius known only as L. L and Light engage in a battle of wits, playing 5D speed chess in order to discern the other's true identity. Light
That's a
eventually
thing?
manages to
5D
kill
speed?
L and assume his
That's
identity,
what one of our patrons
with
said,
everyone
yeah.
else in the world thinking the
Crazy.
L and Light engage in a battle of wits, playing 5D speed chess in order to discern the other's true identity. Light eventually manages to kill L and assume his identity, with everyone else in the world thinking the original L is still alive. In the years that follow, all the world's governments submit to the will of Kira, with many people even worshipping him as a god. It seems like Light is won. The only people still trying to catch Kira is the Kira Task Force, which Light himself is in charge of. And all the world's other crime-fighting organizations and governments have stopped chasing him and most officially endorse and support him. But then, we're introduced to two new characters, Mello and Nier, two genius prodigy orphans who were being raised with the intent of one of them becoming L's successor. Mello ends up taking over the Mafia and attempts to take the Death Note for himself, but he ends up dying. Nier, on the other hand, goes to America, gets a meeting with the president, and gets official backing for a new anti-Kira organization, the Special Provision for Kira, or SPK. This all comes to a climax in the final episode of the series, where the SPK, led by Nier, and the Kira Task Force, being led by Light, posing as L, meet up in a warehouse and wait for Teru Mikami, a devout worshipper of Kira to whom Light had previously given a Death Note, to show up and write everyone's names. This happens on the 28th. Nier is betting his and everyone else's lives that the Death Note won't work, because the SPK had secretly replaced Mikami's Death Note with a fake. If Nier is right, they'll be able to take the notebook from Mikami, and if the names of everyone other than Light are written down, that proves Light is Kira. Light is confident that the Death Note will work, and that everyone but him will die, because the notebook that Mikami had been using before then was already a fake, and the real one was locked in Mikami's safe deposit box at the bank. So Light believes that the SPK will have replaced the pages in the fake notebook, and Mikami will be using the real one that he retrieved from the bank on his way to the warehouse. Well, it turns out that Mikami went to the bank to use the real notebook just one other time on January 26th, and when he did, the SPK got suspicious. We're told that they checked out what's in Mikami's safe deposit box using copies of his keys that they'd made, and found the real notebook. Then, in the span of a single night, they managed to break into the bank, steal the notebook, create a perfect fake copy, and place it in the safe deposit box. So, when Mikami stops at the bank to pick up the real notebook on his way to the warehouse to write down everyone's names, it turns out that what he's picked up was another fake. Now, does anyone see the problem with this yet? Well, if not, I'll tell you. It would have been impossible for the SPK to pull off the switch the way the story tells us that they did. Are we honestly expected to believe that Giovanni, all by himself, was able to break into the building, and break into the vault, and get into the safe deposit box, and get out with a notebook, and create a perfect forgery, and put the fake notebook back, and then lock everything back up exactly the way it was and get out without anyone noticing or leaving any evidence that they'd been there at all?
It's plausible.
It's plausible. The only thing that tripped me up, I didn't say anything, was the perfect forgery.
Yeah.
It made me, with perfect handwriting, replicating his handwriting. I was like, wait, how?
Yeah, nowadays, something like that may be possible.
Yeah.
Right? Given like printing and all that.
Right.
But having to handwrite everything, that's interesting.
But then it made me think back on how L bought the building. And I thought that was a little implausible.
Yeah.
But for a show like this, it seems like these investigators have a little more power than investigators in our real world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I didn't think anything of it. Did you?
Of the forgery?
The forgery, the
No,
breaking
no.
into the safe.
No.
Exactly the way it was and get forgery, and put the fake notebook back, and then lock everything back up exactly the way it was and get out without anyone noticing or leaving any evidence that they'd been there at all? Nonsense! How did they disable the alarm without leaving any trace it had been disabled? What did they do about the security personnel at the bank? How did they physically gain access to the building? Did they break a window, pick a lock, cut a hole in a wall? Anything they did would leave physical evidence that they wouldn't be able to cover up in one night. So how did they manage to make sure the bank was actually open the next day when Mikami showed up, rather than being closed due to being a crime scene? Heck, forget about getting access to the building. How'd they get access to the vault? We're talking about a bank vault. Those things tend to be made of reinforced steel that's several inches thick. You'd need a giant oxyacetylene cutting torch and an entire day to get through one. And even if you did, I'm pretty sure the bank employees would notice the giant hole melted in the door and they'd call the police. But hey, let's say they found a way around all that and did manage to get in and steal the notebook through, I don't know, fairy dust magic. They still would have to create a perfect copy of the entire Death Note in just one night. Let me make it clear just how crazy that is. We're told that Mikami fills in one page of the Death Note per day. That may not seem huge, but he crams in 456 names per page. In one scene, we see a shot of a filled-in page, and it's got 6 rows of names going all the way down the page, with what looks like 76 lines per row. He was actively using the Death Note for 2 months, from November 27th to January 26th. So 456 names per day times 61 days, that works out to 27,816 names. They expect us to believe that one man copied 27,000 names in one night. That is mathematically impossible. Average writing speed is approximately 13 words per minute.
Okay, now he's going in.
Writers top out at around 30 words per minute. Even if we assume Giovanni is only writing first and last names 27,000 times each and ignoring middle names, it would still take over 30 hours, even if he was doing the top 1% of fastest writers. Not to mention that 30 words per minute is assuming he's writing as fast as he possibly can and not going slow and careful to make sure every character is copied perfectly. I mean, we see Yagami look at the notebook under a microscope to check if it's been tampered with. If Giovanni was speed writing like this, there's no way he'd be able to copy things so perfectly that a microscope can't tell the difference. So he had to be writing significantly slower. Let's say 1/3 of that speed, so 10 words per minute, and that's being generous. At that rate, it would take over 92 hours. That's nearly 4 days. And we're told he did this in one night. Impossible, I tell you. That's also all assuming he's just writing nonstop, not copying. In reality, he'd have to stop after every name to read the next one before writing it down. In fact, he'd have to carefully study
This guy's going in.
This guy.
Dot, and stroke to make sure he copied them perfectly. That's going to increase the amount of time it takes substantially. And on top of that, he has to write all these names in Japanese, while his native language is English. Even if we assume he knows how to read and write Japanese, he's definitely going to be slower at it than writing in English. That's also assuming he just writes non-stop without ever taking a break to eat or drink or go to the bathroom, or because his hand is cramping up like crazy. And even without all of that, 30 hours is already longer than they had. They broke into the bank on the night of the 27th and met with the Kira task force on the 28th at 1 p.m. And we know they had to get the fake notebook back into the deposit box before the bank opened. Even if we assume the bank opens late, let's say 10 a.m., and it closes super early the day before, let's say 4 p.m., that still only leaves 18 hours. The break-in itself would take some amount of time, plus driving back to their base to make a copy, then driving back to the bank again. So at most, they would have had 16 hours to do the actual
Alright, we get it. We get it.
Generous. Oh, and this is also all not counting the hundreds of thousands of names that Light wrote into the notebook before giving it to Mikami over the half a decade Light was active. So yeah, the idea that the SPK could break into a bank, get into the vault, get out with a notebook, copy over 27,000 names perfectly in Japanese, go back, plant the fake notebook, then lock everything up without leaving any signs of a break-in, all in a single night, it's laughable, really. So if switching the notebooks was impossible, then when Mikami shows up at the warehouse, he would have been using the real notebook, and Nier and the SPK and everyone but Light would have died, and Light would have won. So then that leaves the question, what is the real ending of Death Note? Well, the part where L dies. If you've watched or read the series, it's abundantly clear that the tone, pacing, and quality of the story dropped drastically past this point. Not to mention that the manga, which was normally a weekly release, took a 2-month hiatus after release of this chapter before resuming. It's most likely that Sugumi Obo was pressured by Shonen Jump into continuing the story past its intended ending. In fact, Shonen Jump is sort of infamous for this sort of thing. They did it with Dragon Ball Z, which was supposed to end after Frieza. They did it with Bleach, which was supposed to end after Pokemon is the story of a manga. The main character should be drawing a manga and being pressured by his editors to keep the story going. So all in all, I think it's pretty clear that the wanted to end the story with L dying and Light winning, but Shonen Jump made him keep going. And given that the final ending that we see is pretty much impossible from every angle, I think it's fair to call Chapter 58/Episode 25 the real ending, and the ending we see in Episode 37/Chapter 108 is more editorial interference. Regardless of whether you think the Episode 37 ending counts or not, I think we can all agree the Episode 25 ending is much better. Hey, thanks for watching.
Okay. Oh, is he providing some fan service?
Liked what you saw, please consider subscribing.
Why you gotta do me sit down like that? What you doing, boy? All right.
He did do a great job of lining up the imagery with what he was talking about, though. I have to give him that.
I have 3 words to say to this gentleman.
Go ahead.
It's a show. Is there such thing in our real world as a Death Note?
Right.
No, there are multiple aspects of this show that are not realistic whatsoever.
Yeah.
Right? And do not parallel to our real world.
Yeah.
But I understand where he's coming from. The point about the bank and how that, wouldn't be feasible to get in, get it, and get out. Even watching, I was under the assumption that Giovanni, that's his name, right? He's a part of L's team, right? And that L and team have power that sort of supersedes all other power. They'd be able to be in cahoots with the bank staff,
right,
and get in and get out.
Yeah.
To the point of
you're taking this guy to school. Huh?
You're taking the forgery.
You're the defense.
The forgery. I understand where he's coming from. The only thing I could think of is like, L and team have access to higher technology, right? That is not available to the general public. Now, I know it was made known that Giovanni copied it by hand, but like, think about the building that was constructed.
This is what that made me think of.
Exactly.
The building, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think, personally, some of you may agree with this video and his perspective. I think he took the ending much too literally. This is a show, man.
I mean, he made points.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were good points. I don't know if they were bad points. But he made points, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
It is interesting when he says after L's death, the show sort of took a different turn.
I agree with that.
And we don't know the reasons behind that, but he offered a few possible suggestions, possible reasons. Up to that point, I mean, you can't really question anything.
Yeah.
Other than maybe the building that L built. I forget exactly when that happened, but obviously before he died. Yeah, I agree with you, man. It's a show called Death Note. It's not real. And it seemed like he was sort of pulling certain things to back his point based on our real life, like handwriting speed.
Right.
Oh, I mean, the simple fact alone, a Death Note, to my knowledge, has never showed up in our material world.
I do not think so, Jordan.
But I mean, I appreciate how there are people out there like this, who critique shows. Yeah. Every show deserves to be critiqued. However, I think every show deserves to be critiqued within its own realm. Like a show like AOT, we're learning, and we're almost done with AOT.
Yeah.
A show like AOT, yeah, you can critique it and put it up against real world, real life. However, the magic of that show is that if you hold up certain things to the AOT world, you hold a mirror to the show itself.
Yeah.
We're starting to find out that everything connects.
Right.
Everything connects. And I wonder if this guy or any other critics or people who analyze things and find pitfalls have spotted any in AOT and said, wait, that doesn't quite add up.
Yeah.
You need people like this, Jordan. You need people like this. So I appreciate his perspective.
Yeah.
Whether he's right, wrong, that's for everybody else to determine.
I agree. I just disagree with him.
Yeah. And I'm sure many other people do as well.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there are a few out there that understand and see where he's coming from.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to read the comments under this, but we won't do that today.
All right. Thank you, Jay, for that video.
Yeah.
That is the video we are going to end our final Death Note reaction on.
Yeah, and we hope that video that we just watched doesn't take away from anybody's appreciation for the show.
I don't think it will.
Yeah. No, I mean, the show itself does a good job in letting the audience judge Light's moral compass, L's moral compass. So that's another video where you be the judge, everybody.
All right, Jordan, it has been a pleasure, my friend.
Wrap it up, man. We ain't gonna shake it up.
I gotta get back to the Shinigami world. Okay. I'll see you very soon.
See you soon, man. We are headed somewhere else, to a different realm shortly, and we hope each and every one of you come along.
Yes.
Because we're not stopping. We're in the anime rabbit hole, and we are going all the way down. And if it happens to bring us up, then we'll go up there. But we're gonna keep falling. Thank you all so much for watching this video and for following our Death Note reaction. It's bittersweet. Sitting here hearing the music, watching some of these scenes, hearing from our patrons. But Jared, I'm sure we'll loop back around in our personal lives to this show, and yeah, it's definitely left its mark on us as human beings.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's made us better.
Yeah. I just had a flashback of you pretending to write names in your own Death Note.
Oh,
it's made us better.
It's made us better human beings. Anyway, we're out of here. Thank you all so much. We love you.
We love you. We love you. We love you. Do not forget, be kind.
And keep an open mind, everybody.
Peace.
Oh yeah? You think you're gonna a Death Note? We should actually we should apply. Maybe they need some twins somewhere, Jude.
Yeah.
Me and you can be in the studio together.
Yeah.
You think you can beat me? I am going to tear you anew, Jared.